What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Buck and 2MC show tonight. Thank you for joining in every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. with myself, Alexis Hornbuckle, and Maria Cornelius. Maria, say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people?
We got a special show for you tonight. Bobby, let them know who this show is brought to you by.
It's brought to you by Orange Mountain Designs. Terry Holder over there has got a great operation website. Go check them out, orangemountaindesigns.com. They've got all kinds of specials going right now. And Blue Water Climate Control, 8 out of 10 Blue Water customers now book online, and so can you. You can save money. Go to bluewaterclimatecontrol.com and book now.
Welcome, everybody. I'm doing all the sharing that we're supposed to do. I encourage everyone here to share too. You know what we're going to talk about. We're jumping right into this Tennessee UConn game. What else are we going to talk about? Tennessee UConn. We got lots to talk about. We're going to start with that. I'm going to put this out on the Twitterverse, and we have to wait till we go live to do that. So here we go. All right, Alexis, we're going to talk about stories about this series. I want to ask you first off, what I heard in New Orleans, you could say if it's true, exaggerated, or more or less there. You were at the 2000 Final Four, obviously All-American game, time to the Final Four, and your class was just a sea of All-Americans. And y'all watched that game, and Tennessee lost by 6 to Connecticut. Tennessee would have upset them. Tennessee was upsetting people left and right to even get there. Mm-hmm. You vowed your class would not lose to UConn. Is that true or not?
Yep. That is a fact. I was so mad. Like, I know the rivalry and it goes back and forth. You know, it always has. And it was just something like, man, when we get there, look, we're not losing. I'm not losing to UConn. I'm not going to Tennessee to lose to UConn.
All right. I wondered if that was true. I've always wanted to ask you. Now I know. And not only that, you won 3 straight games. You won at UConn to start off. You won at Knoxville. Then you go back and win at UConn, which was, of course, the Candace Parker dunk game, which if people want to have fun, they still pull that clip up on YouTube and watch it again. Yep. Gino Ariema, of course, you know, we're doing interviews this week with Gino and Kelly. He said this week, and I've got my notes caught up here. He said, it's not a big deal anymore. It's not. So Bobby, let's cue up that clip and run this clip, and I'll let y'all hear. And Gino expands on it. It's not just one of those smart Alec, short clips. He expands on it. So I'm going to let y'all hear it for yourself.
We haven't talked about it. Initially when we decided to do it, it was, a home and home series because there was a good cause attached to it, and we were all willing to do that. Where's it go beyond that? I don't know. There hasn't been any discussion with me about anything going forward, and that's neither here nor there. But I think people have to realize it's not a big deal anymore. I mean, it's not. Whatever you want to say, it's not that big a deal anymore. We played here last year. It wasn't that big a deal. Maybe I got it all wrong. I don't know.
Why is it not a big deal when you consider that fan base and your fan? I mean, am I just living too much in the past? Because to me, it still is a big deal. Like, it can be a big deal.
Well, I don't know. Let's put it this way. We didn't sell out the game last year. Not even close. So how big a deal is it? And we probably sold out every single Notre Dame game we played in the last 10 years. So I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But I don't feel that buzz and that like I used to around everywhere, media wise, neighborhoods here, the state, everything. You just don't, I don't feel it. Maybe because it's been too long. Maybe it's because, you know, it was never about Tennessee and Connecticut. Maybe it was because it was Pat and Gino after a while. I don't know. But I don't feel it. I don't know if Kelly does. I don't know. I've never asked her.
Alexis, what do you say? And like I said, and that question was asked by Michelle Vopel. I'll give her a shout out, you know, longtime women's basketball writer. Like I said, he didn't just give a short answer. He gave a pretty well thought out answer. After hearing that, what's your reaction?
Well, Maria,
Hold up. We got
First off, my face
sponsors.
was
We
like-
got sponsors, Alexis. To think about it before you say it.
Bobby, I understand. It's not the collective unfiltered. I got you.
It's Tuesday night.
Oh,
Monday night.
look. See, I'm sorry, I didn't mute my notification. Yeah, you're right. No. My first reaction is how disrespectful, to be honest. It's the history. I mean, a lot of the rivalry is what drew more young girls to women's basketball, to want to play collegiate basketball. And that in itself to me is huge. So that in itself should always make it an important game. The fact that it's ended, and yes, we've been going through a rebuilding period for a decade, you know, but this is different. And this is a different team. I think even just from last year, obviously. And bottom line is, if they lose and he says it's not a big deal, then I guess in his head, it's still not a big deal. One for us, we're like, yeah, I bet you bet it's a big deal now. To me, if I'm in that Lady Vol locker room as a player, if I'm in uniform, I find that completely disrespectful to the history of our program and what this game means to fans all over the world. So that's how I feel in the most edited version I can give you.
Believe it or not, it will have been 15 years since Connecticut played at Tennessee when this game happens Thursday. By the way, it's a 7 p.m. game. Obviously, ESPN, I believe it's ESPN2. I should know that because I always have to set up the thing. If somebody knows that it's not, I know it's in the ESPN family of networks. I'm pretty sure it's ESPN2 in terms of the channel. That dates myself considerably. But you know, what else he said is everything has changed. Here's my take on it. I think Gino is dealing with a lot of what we dealt with in 2011-12 and then 2016 when we lost Pat. And that when that game got played in Connecticut a year ago, I mean, that's when he was in tears. You know, he said, I looked down the bench. I wanted to see Pat. I think the full impact of what everyone else has been living with the loss of Pat hit him at that moment. I get what he's saying, and I understand also what you're saying. This game is a big deal, and going into it, you would want your head coach to be engaged in it. At the same time, I do understand what he's saying, but I think he's saying it from a place of hurt that a lot of us have already worked through.
Yeah, maybe that, and he did mention that, you know, it's a great cause, and that's why. And you did mention his moment that he had last year, looking down on the bench that he spoke on, and I get that, and I can respect where that's coming from, but the fact that you say like it's just not a big deal, like the game, the rivalry, to me, that's what I mean is disrespectful. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, because you can't take away from history. Now you can make a new history. Yeah, they sell out with Notre Dame because Notre Dame's been winning. They've been winning. Of course, to fans, it's like, who's going to win? We've been in a slump. So if UConn plays Tennessee, UConn's expected to win, right? On their side. But for us, it's like, how do we get back to competing and making this rivalry as well alive again, like it was when it first started. And like it was when I was watching as a kid, or when I was at the Final Four in New Orleans, you know what I mean? Or when I was on the court actually playing against them, that game was everything to me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. He got to deal with it how he's going to deal with it. He sees things how he's going to see things. We all know he's very arrogant. I actually love that about him because he doesn't care, but and he's very competitive. But in the same sense, I just think that the rivalry should come with a little more respect.
And I let it run 2 minutes for a purpose, because you know what the soundbite's going to be. It's not a big deal anymore. It's not. Bam. That's the soundbite. That, unfortunately, is what a lot of people are going to have and hear. And I wanted to let it run, and I definitely wanted your input on that as a player, because mine's coming from a media point of view, where I sort of get used to breaking down from a media point of view different points of view, but yours comes from a player. So that's interesting to hear that feels sort of like a gut punch almost to you, like like a disrespect. He also said that once a legend is replaced, it takes time to adjust. And he said, I think Kelly, this was later in the interview, I think Kelly has done a tremendous job. From what I can see from afar, I think they're on the right track. Now, of course, we got to talk to Kelly this evening. And Bobby, you can cue that up. Let's hear what Kelly said to Gino's question, or Gino's response.
I think, obviously I can't speak to his opinion, but we're really excited about Thursday and, really looking forward to the game. I think a lot of people are. I think people are looking at this as a big game, and should be a lot of fun. I think a lot of people worked hard to make this a big game for women's basketball nationwide. And I think it's good to have those games in our sport. I think it's really good. People tune in and people watch, and hopefully they'll do so on Thursday.
Vince?
Kelly, do you have interest in continuing to play UConn even beyond this year and that home and home from last year and this year?
Oh, yeah, I think we definitely have interest there. I think we'd have to talk through, logistics and what that will look like. But, we're definitely willing to have those conversations.
And what are the things that
Yeah, we're going to cut it off there. Alexis, what do you think? Extend this series past these 2 games?
It's fun. Yeah, absolutely. I was actually going to say that, but I wanted to hear the rest of the clip in full. So if it's not such a big game, this is just how I'm looking at it. All right, it's one woman's opinion. Take it or leave it. If it's not such a big deal, and we all know UConn has plenty of games that aren't a big deal that helps their win record, why not just put us back on the schedule? Why don't we put each other back on the schedule? If it's not such a big deal and it's just another game, right? And if, Lady Vols, we haven't been obviously making Final Four appearances, but we go back and forth from being ranked and unranked. So I think we're right in that on that street of the type of games they like to schedule. Just an opinion.
It's more than an opinion. I mean, that strikes at your competitor's heart. I mean, I'm glad we showed these clips.
Yeah, me too. Because y'all know I've been trying to get myself together, not really feeling the best. And feel like I missed so much in a few days. So, yeah, that one got me gritting my teeth over here.
You're doing well, understanding that we're not on the Collective Unfiltered. I mean, maybe that can be a topic on the Collective Unfiltered, but Alexis, you were there.
It might have to be next week.
You might have to be. You were there for the prep work. I mean, yeah, you want to beat every opponent, but was there just something extra with Pat when you guys were prepping for UConn?
Yep. I got kicked out of UConn the practice before a UConn game my freshman year, I believe it was. Yeah. Pat is very militant during that prep week for UConn. And I say week, Maria, although there's other games being played and we focus hard on them, we were really practicing what we wanted to do against UConn on other teams. Now, obviously, she would make in-game adjustments necessary to actually perform well in that particular game. But overall, we were laying a foundation of an understanding of our game plan for UConn, right? It was the type of week, like, Pat's on edge, man. Coach was on edge. Like, you got to walk right, breathe right, uniform better look right, don't have wrinkle in the wrong place, like, headband better be right. Just come to practice early. If we got to be there early anyway, just add 10 extra early minutes onto that. Just to be on her good side. Hell, I mean, I used to just walk in her office and, hey, coach, listen, you see me, I see you. I'm trying to smile before I see the other side of you. Maybe it'll lighten you up. But it was tough. Like, it was tough. And I got kicked out, Maria. You were there.
What exactly did you do or not do?
Nothing. I didn't show enough emotion. So she was Hornbuckle. That's all I heard. And I was just trying to be respectful and not talk back. So I forget exactly what triggered it, but she said something and I wanted to react. So put my jersey in my mouth and I'm just staring at her like, yes, coach. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. You don't care? Like, I guess my response was too nonchalant. And that's when Tasha Butts, a.k.a. T-Booty, was our GA, right? That was the first practice I got kicked out of. And I didn't know what to do. I take my jersey off like I'm doing something. You know, you see people do that when they foul out. So I was like, this might be a cool thing to do right now. So I took my jersey off. I took my jersey off and walked to the locker room, right? And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, so I go shower. I get some snacks. I turn on the TV. I'm sitting in the film room watching TV. Tasha comes in. I'm like, and she basically told me, get your butt upstairs and go apologize. I said, apologize for what? I ain't saying anything to the woman. She said, because she felt you were disrespectful and not fully engaged. But I was. I just didn't react to her. But she felt, I'm like, all right, I go. So I had to go upstairs before I can go to study hall or Thornton or anything like that. I had to go apologize to coach. So that was my actual first UConn week experience at the University of Tennessee.
Bobby, what about you? You got any memories of those Tennessee UConn games?
Oh, yes. Every Tennessee fan has memories of those UConn-Tennessee rivalry games. And before I say that, Alexis, you were telling a story that you vowed to never lose to UConn again. Well, there was a legend at Tennessee, and most of you older folks will know this, Bernard King. He lost to Kentucky his freshman year, and he says, I'll never, ever lose to him again. And you know what? He kept his promise. So shout out to Alexis and her Bernard King moment. But anyway, yeah, it was huge. Hey,
that's big right there. I appreciate it.
It was like, I wouldn't say it was like Florida, Tennessee football week, but it was close. I mean, it was big. I don't want to say I hated UConn because I'm hating it in a sports sense. I put it up there with, there was a lot of respect for UConn. They were good. There were times I thought they were going to blow us out of the gym and we won. And that just showed the competitiveness that we had and the teams that we had and the coach that we had. And yeah, they were huge. And that's what I'm saying. There was a time when it was Tennessee football #1 and Lady Vols #2 in the ranking of fandom. And we need to get back to that. I'm glad that the men's basketball team's doing good right now. They're really cranking it, and I want them all to do good. But there was a time when I remember in 1998 going to a ball game, a Florida game, the one we won. Yeah, I went down. I was one of those that went down on the field, and before the game, I seen this big old crowd around somebody. I said, that's somebody famous. It was Shamiqua Holesclaw. She was a rock star on a football school campus.
That's awesome.
And I was surprised how tall she was. I'm 6 foot
That's
tall,
awesome.
but she was taller than I was. I was like, wow, that was Shamiqua. And everybody was around her like she was a rock star. That's what Tennessee football, Lady Vols basketball needs to get back to, and it's going to. I promise you.
And I want to point out, Alexis would have had 4 straight against Connecticut, but Pat ended the series after that 2007 game. The next game was scheduled to be at Tennessee with all 5 of the starters there. I mean, it's rare that I would say a game was going to be won. Y'all were going to win that game in Knoxville. There was no doubt. As a player, I know you understand why Pat ended it, but were you disappointed to not get that 4th game in that series?
Of course. Because coming in, obviously, I'm trying to go 4-0, or more against UConn if we happen to meet up with them in the NCAA championship. Because that was on my bucket list to actually beat them in a championship, the national championship. And so to not have that opportunity to have that particular dream fulfilled it was definitely a little bit disappointing. But I understood her reasoning at the time. And plus to be a senior, like you said, and to have that game on our court, that just would have been an awesome feeling because our games we were evolving. We were meshing better and better every single year. I feel like, our junior and senior year, we had the least amount of hiccups, than the previous 2 years. And I think, and I'm speaking of like injuries and redshirt and stuff like that. But, you know what I mean? So we would have had a complete healthy team at that time. And I would have loved to see that outcome.
The one story I'll tell, and then we can do comments, and I know we'll go to the next segment, which is We Back Pat Week, is I was at that game when Candace dunked. And I remember flying in and landing. You actually land in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I was used to New York accents. I remember walking out of that airport trying to get a cab to get to Hartford.